Hi, welcome to this video today, which is about Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin obviously very newsworthy at the moment. And in terms of Bitcoin, obviously a huge move to the upside. How far can it go before we have a correction? How should you consider trading it if you want to be in on this investment? Okay. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, it does polarize opinion. There's those people who say it's a fad, it's a bubble, but they wish they bought some. And then there's others that say it's going to be a real alternative to mainstream currencies and will continue to grow at a fast rate. Now, in terms of this, I just want to go through some salient points in relation to Bitcoin. Now, in terms of Bitcoin, I also would advise people to keep in mind advice from one of the best investment books ever, Charles Mackay's Extraordinary Popular Delusions and Madness of Crowds. I've done some quotes at the end for anyone to think about who is thinking of treating Bitcoin as a really safe investment. It isn't. It's very speculative. I've seen people saying they're going to put their retirement funds in it, sell their houses. That is ridiculous. Okay, if you want to trade it in a small way. Okay, let's go and look at Bitcoin now, and just basically go through its characteristics, the recent rally, and also its long-term future. Okay, I just want to look at Bitcoin in terms of its characteristics. The recent huge rise in it and how far that might continue, how big a correction might come, should you buy the correction. I also want to look at its longer term future in terms of how far will it grow, and in relation to this, I want to look particularly at government acceptance and also views of Mr. Average. Also, we look at trading it technically. And I want to compare it to gold as well. Now, in relation to the characteristics of Bitcoin, let's keep in mind point number one: not a store of value as it has no fundamentals. There's nothing fundamentally to value it against whatsoever. Okay, that means the price of Bitcoin simply relies on investor sentiment, nothing else. Okay, there's nothing backing it up. It's only a shared consensus of it going up in terms of Bitcoin investors that has pushed it up in price. Point number three: it's not an accepted currency in the true sense because you can't spend it easily in the mainstream economy. Okay, now in terms of the parabolic rise, it has been 1,000% this year, and with any parabolic rise, it doesn't matter what investment it's in, you're always going to get a correction. This one will be no different. It can run on for a bit longer, but you are going to see a sizable correction. Always beware of the fear of missing out, okay? And by this, I mean, everyone at the moment is talking about Bitcoin and thinking, should I get in? Get a lot of people interviewed in the press telling you how much money they've made in Bitcoin, and you get a lot of people telling you their strategies. Okay, they could just say they were lucky. Okay, there was one lady, she's a cool girl in Australia. She made a lot of money out of Bitcoin. Actually, she just said, the way to trade it, just wait for it to dip a little bit in price and buy it because it always goes back up. Now, how many times have you heard that in a bubble? Just buy the dip. There's plenty more upside. Now, there's some really sort of, in my view, very outlandish projections to how far Bitcoin can go to the upside. And you get the other thing that's always said in the bubble: this time it's different. It's different this time. Bitcoin is different to any other investment. It doesn't matter. It's got no fundamental backing in terms of, a fiscal asset. It makes no difference. Okay, I've heard that lots of times. Think back to the tech bubble. You had tech companies valued at several $100 million that never made any money. It was different that time as well, wasn't it? It's always that way in a bubble. People lose a sense of reality, okay? Now, my own view is I do think Bitcoin will survive, but it's not going to become a serious rival to mainstream currencies. It isn't at the moment, and in my view, it won't become so. I mean, obviously, governments, they've got to embrace it. A lot of people say they don't have to. I'll come to that in a moment, but they don't want competition, okay? And you're already seeing, let's say, for example, I think it's chairman of the SEC saying, beware of Bitcoin, all the money laundering that's going on in it and all the rest of it. It's a haven for money laundering. It's also a haven for stealing. 700 million, I think, was stolen in the last 3 months from what should be a secure investment, or what people claim it is. Now, governments don't really want it, okay? And I think, in terms of Mr. Average, does he really care about Bitcoin? He might do at the moment because there's a bubble going on. It's newsworthy. But once the bubble is gone, won't be interested in it anymore. At the end of the day, when a lot of people say about you need an alternative currency to government currency because the governments have racked up so much debt, that is true. But Mr. Average in the street doesn't think that way. He just basically thinks the government are going to sort it out, which is a bit naive, obviously. But unless Bitcoin came into the mainstream economy, Mr. Average is not going to be too interested. Now, in terms of trading it technically, I see a lot of people doing technical videos on Bitcoin. You can't trade it technically, can you? Technical analysis normally relies on investor sentiment pushing prices above the fundamentals or below them. Okay, so you get overbought or oversold. There are no fundamentals in Bitcoin, so how can you trade it technically? You can't. I would personally say, obviously, we trade technically. If I was trading it, trade it as a punt. So if it dips, okay, then just put a little bit of money aside, put it in, leave it, be prepared to lose it, and see if Bitcoin grows over the longer term. Okay, I've got a feeling that Bitcoin will continue to be around, but it is just basically a passing fad. And when everyone talks about the size of Bitcoin and it's going to be a rival to gold, I don't think so. Just think of the difference in size between the markets. Gold market is 200 times the size of Bitcoin. Okay, so I think it'll probably continue. I just think that it's just not going to become the rival to major currencies or as popular with the average man in the street that many in the media are saying it's going to be. I just think at the moment it's become a bubble. The bubble will end and then the interest will die down in it. Now, in terms of what Bitcoin, sort of kind of proves to me is that investor behaviour never changes. Any bubble just brings out greed, and basically investors, get detached from the reality. They don't see the reality. What I'm going to do is finish up with some quotes from the wonderful book, Charles Mackay's Extraordinary Popular Delusions, A Madness of Crowds, where he talks about the tulip mania back in Holland. Okay, when people paid 25,000 for a tulip at one stage, it got up to 250,000 for a single tulip, and then things ended. Now, in terms of the difference between Bitcoin and the tulip mania, at least you had a tulip to put in your vase. So if you're thinking of treating Bitcoin as a serious investment, just heed these wise words from Charles Mackay, which are just now coming up. Thank you for listening to me. Take care. Have a good day.